Hello, Ron. Today we are joined by Rob from the Nashorn Restoration Project. Hello, Rob.
Hello, guys.
And Rob, with a team, is restoring a Nashorn to make it functional again. If you want to support Rob and his team, there will be a link to the fundraiser in the description and also in the pinned comment. So be sure to chime in. I definitely will. So, Rob, first, what is your background? Do you have a military background? And I mean, you definitely have a civilian background. At one point, everyone is a civilian. But so, what is your basic background? Also, do you have experience with restoring vehicles or historical artifacts?
Well, my background is mainly a technician. I've been a welder, I've been a truck driver, I've been a mechanic on trucks, on cars, a lot of things. So all those experience helped me in restoring this vehicle. And of course, I'm not alone with a big team of about 10, 12 friends that are restoring this vehicle. So yeah, we have a lot of experience together. And I think it's about 25 years now that we are working together as a group of friends and restoring military vehicles. We started out with American GMC, and our main goal is to keep history alive and restore World War II vehicles and yeah, get them ready for being used again, but then of course for remembrances.
Okay. What other vehicles did you restore so far?
We had M8 Greyhound, M20. I forgot the name of the M20.
It also slipped my mind. I mean, probably there are 5 different vehicles that have the name M20 because M and
Yeah,
in American
but
Army.
with the same basic vehicle as the M20, M8 Greyhounds.
Yeah, I will put it in the caption.
Yeah. We had GMCs. We have like 3 or 4 Willy Jeeps. We had now 3 with the group, and a friend of ours has one. A friend of ours, he had several Shermans. We had a Sherman tank. We had half tracks, duck. So mainly American vehicles, and then we also did a Fort Maltier, which is in a French museum now near La Wansenau. And now we're restoring the Nashorn.
So, I mean, you have experience with the Maltier and the Nashorn. So, how does it compare in terms of restoring with the American vehicles? Is there a major difference, or is it just basically the same in a way?
I think in a way it's the same because it's all metal vehicles. Technology is based on the same things. But yeah, for German tanks, it's often more complicated, more elaborate. Like for American vehicles, just when you push the pedal, you hit the brakes. But for a German vehicle, can be more complex like that.
So it's not just a running gag that German technology is more complicated.
No, it's true.
Okay, it's true. Okay. Because I always make the joke, and I mean it's definitely in literature is the case.
It's a good challenge.
Okay, so yeah, I mean we are providing work for the rest. So now some specific question about the Nashorn restoration. Why the Nashorn? You mentioned a lot of vehicles beforehand and the Multi, and so that suddenly the Nashorn, but it actually doesn't. So
it doesn't add up. No, I know. We did a lot of American vehicles, and we thought, okay, let's do a change. And since a lot of American troops were here, we did the American vehicles at first. And then we thought, let's do it from the other side, from the enemy side. So that's a German vehicle. Why the Nashorn? We got that question a lot. Why did you buy a Panther tank? It's not like going to a market and buy one. Even if you have, it's difficult to find. And what we did is call around friends that we know, people, dealers, collectors. What do you have for sale? And then this project came up. So it's more of a chance that we took the Nashorn on than that we were looking for one, because it's a very rare vehicle. It's even more rare than a Panther tank. But that is what we found. So yeah, we talked about it and we decided let's go for it.
So basically, it was German vehicle, and then it was the one you found. Yeah, I mean, I know, for instance, the Panzermuseum Munster was trying to get its hands for ages on a Panzer II, and they had no chance because it's an extremely rare vehicle, and it's either too expensive or they only can get parts. I think they have a turret at best or something, and so they are probably. I think the latest what I heard was they are thinking about getting a 3D print or something of some parts and mix them with original parts they have. So yeah.
Yeah, you see that more often, that when a vehicle gets that rare, they're gonna build modern parts around it so that they still can show how the vehicle looked like, because it's so rare nobody has one.
Yeah. And about the restoration of the Nashorn, what was the most surprising aspect you came across?
Yeah, I think for finding a gun for it, the Pak 43 is a really rare gun, and we finally found one through a collector that collects ammunition. He knew one, and another collector was trying to buy that gun, but the owners of it said, we know that there are people restoring a Nashorn and we want this gun to go on the Nashorn. So that was really surprising.
Oh, excellent. So they supported in a way, yeah, your project.
Yeah.
And what was it's kind of related, the strangest aspect during the restoration?
Not really something really strange that I remember. Of course, there's some nice things that when you're working on the wheels and there's like a bullet clamped in between something, finds like that. We also have a few hits on the armor, and in one hole there's still a bullet left in it. So that's, yeah, a bit surprising to find something like that. And yeah, sometimes also when you're learning about the history of a vehicle, there are some bullet holes in it. And yeah, you wonder what it is, what it could be. Of course, yeah, you can see by the size that it can't be something really big or small arms fire. But then you're talking on shows to people, and yeah, they know more about a certain aspect of war, and they told us it was 20 millimeter aircraft fire.
Interesting. I mean, I know the Hummer. I think the Hummer, which has the same chassis as the Nashorn in Munster, you have some battle damage as well.
Yeah.
Now, what are common misconceptions about this restoration or general restoration projects that you often see people like that they mention something and then you say, oh no, that's not the way how it works?
Yeah, the only thing is what I mentioned before, that people that do not restore themselves, that they think, oh, it should be an original engine, it should have this, should have that. And yeah, I understand that they don't know how it works and how difficult some things are, but that is the general thing we see. Yeah, they think that's easy to get everything original.
Yeah.
But some you don't even find anymore.
Yeah, it's basically comes down. I mean, in military history and in military operations, it often comes down to logistics, and I see this with video production as well. If, for instance, I get comments, why you don't do this or that. I mean, we actually made a video about this, and common creators are, yeah, I mean, of course you don't do this because you have a particular reason, and usually logistics, and people who usually don't do videos, they're like, why did you do this or why did you do that, and you can actually see, okay, I mean, there's a reality, there are limitations like money, time, availability of material, same with time. Like some people complained that I wore a mask in the Panzermuseum Munster because they assumed I was alone in the museum. No, I recorded during visitors hours. I mean, I drive a day to Munster and 1 day back. I'm not recording in the first 3 hours of the day and then I leave the museum. I record from 7 in the morning when I'm allowed to enter, and then I record up to, I think, 5 or 6 when I have to go out because time is money.
To watch the Hummel, you have to stop for them because you cannot chase visitors away at a certain vehicle.
Yeah, and also it was a regulation anyone in the museum during visitor hours in the open, in the visitor area, has to wear a mask. And I'm not going there to get thrown out, or even worse, to get trouble for the Panzermuseum staff. Because they allow me to get in the Hummel and everything, and then, no, I'm not going to wear a mask because I want to make a political statement. It's not a political statement that I wear a mask, because some people confuse this. It's not that I wear a mask or I don't wear a mask. I usually do what is necessary to get stuff done. And I had to wear a gas mask during boot camp. So, and that was a bit more uncomfortable running with a assault gun in January 2001 around in the open field than wearing a mask in a museum.
Yeah.
So sorry for this sidetracking, but I think
no problem. It's part of life.
So I think I saw your Nashorn in Overloon 2019, I think, and there was a fire. What happened?
Yeah, we had it in a wooden barn before, and March 10th of March 2019, that barn at night got fire. And we don't know what happened, probably a short circuit. We know there were mice in that building, so it could have been that they chewed on a wire. And the barn completely burned down. So we had to start almost completely over. And we had a lot of road wheels with original rubber on it, and that was all gone.
And this is also the reason why you started the crowdfunder, right?
Yeah.
So if people want to help, there's a link in the description. So
would be much appreciated.
So what is the current state of the project now? Because some time passed, and how can people help? Is there anything they can do besides money? Because some people have time or access to other sources, but they don't have money. So how can people help?
Yeah, for us, since we are a group of friends restoring this vehicle, we do not allow people to come in and help us. Because it's a project of friends. For us, it's like a free time hobby, and we want to keep it in between the friends. But we have merchandise, we have t-shirts, hoodies, we have some mugs, so we have stuff for sale. That's a possibility, and also sharing the videos that we make. I have my own YouTube channel. I guess you will you can put a link in the description. It's called Jack of All Trades. So the channel is called Jack of All Trades Nashorn Restoration. If you want to share our videos and our posts, and also your posts and videos, since you're helping us with this as well. So that's the other option besides donating.
Okay. And how's the current state of the project now? I think you just added the gun now again.
Yeah, I will show you. So the gun is back on. We had it on in 2019, but was welded on some supports. But now the entire cradle is on, so it can also move left and right and up and down. But we haven't gotten as far as putting the gears in. So I'll show you in the back as well.
Oh, here's the battle damage, yeah.
So this inside the back in the fighting compartment, we still need to make the ammunition boxes. In front you see the toolbox, original one, but this one is really badly damaged, so most likely we'll make a copy and put that one in. But yeah, we still have enough work left for us.
So the engine is in there again, or
underneath the gun?
So it's working?
The engine is working, yeah.
Oh, perfect.
There should be something in between. For now, I have some rubber in between, but I don't know what it should be. So we have to find that out, and then we will replace the rubber. And then that part is finished. And for the rest, I'm going to show you a bit around. Of course, there's things like here should be a towing cable. You see often a wooden box for storing items, a wooden block for the jack. On this side, the 10-ton jack. That's typical for the German vehicles. We're gonna put, when we have the new tracks on, we're gonna put more of the original tracks here in front. And of course a little bit of painting. The spare wheels have to go back into place, but we were working on it, taking those bolts out. You cannot do that with the spare wheels in place. We are also thinking about camouflage painting, but we still have to find out which camo scheme works the best for our Nashorn. But yeah, I will let you know later when we have something. On the back you can see the brackets for aiming posts or the cleaning rods. Normally for Nashorns, the later Nashorns have the cleaning rods on the back. And this one has exception. It has the longer poles. Well, it can fit the longer poles, similar to what the Hummel has. Early Nashorns were also capable of blind firing, similar to artillery. And so they use the same aiming post as the Nashorn. We have found one picture of a Nashorn having the same aiming post on the back. And then for the inside, ammo box, MG34 and some boxes, cover plates for those holes, and a tube with a valve for hot air coming from the engine to warm up the back. Another ammo rack should go in. We're thinking about replacing this toolbox with a copy. On top there should be another box. There should be brackets for the gas mask tubes. And then the gun itself needs a few little brackets. And of course for elevation and traversing all the mechanisms. And then in the shield there were also some tubes, but I don't know for what it is. Probably for the aiming devices. And also an early Nashorn should have a slot in the shield, which later was welded up when they got the later sights. And then completely in the back there should be also another box. So we also have to find out what box it should be, and if we can find one or make a copy or something. And also we need a few brackets for the tarpaulin that goes over the Nashorn. Some guys from the Dutch military offered us for making a transporting tarpaulin, so that at least for transportation we can keep the vehicle dry. For the original tarpaulin there should be a hoop somewhere, but it looks like it's a field modification because you see quite a few different options, so we have to figure that one out. And of course test driving will probably reveal some things that we have to improve on the driving, so we still have some work on the inside most likely. On this side the air vent has been taken out. We still need to do some painting on the inside and checking up on systems. So another view from the front. So another spare wheel that should go on top there. Another feature of some Nashorns is this edge. It's for preventing when it rains the water dripping inside. If you have any parts for sights of the Nashorn or Pak 43, let us know. We're still looking for those parts. Also for elevation and traversing. Yeah, if you have anything, know anything, you can contact us, and we will work something out.
If I'm not mistaken, this is an early chassis of the Nashorn Hummel variant, because in the later variant, the position of the radio guy was also way more forward, right? It was at the same.
The radio operator is always in front, even on the late models.
But
I
can you look
think,
over a bit to the left? You see here that where the how is it called? The part where the driver is sitting in, and
yeah, but that's only for the Hummel.
that was not done for the Nashorn. They didn't change
No.
the chassis there. Okay, my bad. Yeah, because I know they changed for the Hummel they had, or for the Hummel they had two different chassis, early and the late war.
Yeah, you can see it by the driver's compartment. So this is a small one for Hummel would be early, and then for the late this would all be
extend over.
completely. Yeah.
And for the Nashorn
But,
they always use that one. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, and the radio always was in front for the Nashorn. But the one in Aberdeen had also a radio in the back because that was a commander's vehicle.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And let me show you. This is also early, like the spare wheel holder.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be in front, and for late version it would be in the back.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And also the superstructure is different from Hummel because this plate at the top is very narrow. So if you would extend the wanne, it's one line up to the top. And for the Hummel, this goes slightly inwards. So at the top,
okay.
this plate is wider.
Yeah. Did you notice? Because I read for the Hummel that they had real problems with the driver's compartment that water got always in. But yeah, you probably didn't drive it through the rain so far.
I had it one time. I had to drive it when it was raining in Overloon, and I thought, okay, I jump quickly in when it's raining and drive it inside and we'll be okay. But when I opened the hatch, a lot of water came in. You can see here, there's like a edge and it can fill up with water. And also because this is flat, there will be water staying on top. And if you open it, it will run inside. And also, I think you can see it from here. On the other side is a ring.
Yeah.
And yeah, you see it sometimes on Nashorns. We have some original pictures with that ring on, and it's probably a field modification by the crew because not all of them have it. And it's also to keep the rain out.
Okay, so you actually also had the pleasure of getting wet in that vehicle.
Yeah.
Now, how do you get your parts mostly? So some parts you basically, as you mentioned, the engine you don't use original ones, but how you get original parts, and if you can't get an original part because it's too expensive or there's none, you basically recreate your own.
Yeah, like for the engine, we looked around for an engine that would fit. You buy something. We said, if possible, we want to buy a V12. And mostly they are in diesel these days. There are gasoline engines, but yeah, we have to buy it from the States. So with shipping and everything would still be very expensive. That would have been better for the original sound, to keep a more original sound. But in this case, we said, okay, we have a V12, so that sound is close enough, and we accept it. And yeah, for other parts, we're looking around on Facebook. We ask people, do you know something? Did you find something? People that we know in the scene of restoring German vehicles, we call them. And yeah, there are some internet sites you can go to, Facebook pages. It's a lot of searching, going to fairs where they're selling parts. And then, of course, if you can't get an original to buy or it's way too expensive, then we try to find measurements to make a copy. It's like the Travelogue here in front.
Mm.
We had a Russian friend, Yuri Pashalok.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of him.
I know of him. I don't know him personally. Peter from Tank Archives knows him very well. He translates, I think, all his articles into English.
Oh, okay, yeah. But anyway, he took some pictures at the Kubinka Museum. These days is Prater Park. And he had like a magnetic ruler. He stick it on the metal and then take a picture. So that's how we got the measurements for that. And yeah, we're still looking these things like the travelogue. They are parts that it's easy to exchange when we get the original one. So yeah, it's also that part that we can say if we find original one for a decent price, we can still exchange it and we will do it. But it's yeah, you want to get the vehicle ready so you can use it on events. And this is a major part that we need to get on, because when you are hanging, we have like a rope on the barrel because the gear is still not attached. We still have to make one or find one. So for traversing the gun left, right, we use that rope. But yeah, you can also see that the gun is leaning more forward when you're hanging on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, for driving, it's even more important. Otherwise, yeah, you can damage some parts inside.
Yeah, and people forget how heavy these vehicles are. And this gun is particularly long, so I don't want to see that if that swings or something in a dangerous direction. Yeah.
I think about 2.5 meters extending from the vehicle.
Yeah, and it's pretty strong steel as well. So anything you touch is likely damaged in a very particular way.
And the same with the track as well. If you drive over something, yeah, it's easy to destroy something.
So I think we touched this already. Basically, what material books regulation do you use foundation for your restoration project? There's basically not much left. So I assume you use Panzertracks by Jens and Doyle and the manual you have, and the rest is basically from like getting measurements from Yuri and other people.
Yeah. Yeah, and also there are more books about the Nashorn, not only from Hilary Doyle, but yeah, I think we have about 6 or 7 books that mention the Nashorn, but also we have about 400 original pictures. Not the picture itself, but digital versions of it. But still, it tells you a lot.
Yeah. Now I have some specifically World War II related questions. So what is your knowledge and or opinion on the matter that Germans during the Second World War lacked spare parts? Did you come across this in any way during your restoration or research?
Yeah, for me, it's more about my knowledge is more based on the technology itself than on history. But yeah, what we have heard about it, it has to do with also bombing the factories. So I don't know really if it's lack of organization or something. But what I've heard, part is also not getting parts as much as possible the same on each vehicle. So yeah, a lot of different parts and not all the same.
So there's also a lack of standardization in that sense.
Yeah, yeah, and you can see that in restoring vehicles. There's not much that fits on a lot of vehicles, like the toolbox we have. Because I want to know if more people are looking for a copy of that toolbox, so we can make a few. There are only a few vehicles that had that toolbox. So it's unlikely that we can sell some copies to other people.
So even the toolboxes were not that standardized.
Yeah, it is Hummel, Nashorn, and Elephant, and Broombear. Only those 4 vehicles got that toolbox.
Okay, that is a very limited number.
Standard, because it was a necessity to have the same radio. Otherwise, you couldn't communicate together. But even for road wheels, Panther has different ones than Tiger, and that stuff is constantly the same. But yeah, Nashorn and Hummel, they when they designed those vehicles, they did think of using standard parts that are already being produced. So for road wheels and suspension, it's more easy to get. It's not specifically Nashorn.
Yeah, they did a mix of a Panzer III and Panzer IV parts, as far as I remember.
Yeah, correct.
Some questions, because I looked at some reports that I found in the military archives, and they noted some potential problems of sabotage. They noted they found 2 handfuls of drill chips and a machine screw with a nut attached in the brake drum of the Hornisse, which was the earlier name for the Nashorn. And what what would this lead to? What kind of damage do you think would happen from that?
In which part was it found?
In the brake drum.
Oh yeah. Well, there's a brake pad in it, and if the chips come in between the brake pad and the drums, they will eat up, in a sense, the brake pad, and you can't brake anymore. So they will interfere with steering and braking of the vehicle. And yeah, if you can't steer, you cannot drive.
So and probably you won't notice this immediately, right? It might take some time till the drill chips and also the nut will or would you notice it
Probably.
immediately?
I think that depends on the driver. If he has a good feeling about those things, then he probably would have noticed after some time and maybe in time. But yeah, getting new drivers and going into war, it adds another dimension. So it's very likely that they wouldn't notice it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely know for the Hummer, there was one unit that got the Hummer, and they previously it was a regular artillery unit. It was not attached to the an armored division, and it was like quite funny. The commander noted, "Oh, we found out there's a regulation on how to drive this thing. It would have been good if we got a copy of that." And he also noted that the Hummers were actually driven by not their crews from the trains to the unit or something, and they badly mangled them as well. So apparently most people didn't have training, at least at first, with this vehicle. So likely this would have not been detected.
Yeah. So yeah, unless it's too late.
And the other thing that they noted was that for another Nashorn they found filing and drilling chips in the crankcase im Kurbelgehäuse.
Yeah.
So and they
That would,
noted that damaged the engine, so that's also likely.
yeah, will be really bad.
But it also will
It's
take some time, right?
it will take some time, but it can be a few hundred kilometers can be enough,
Okay.
and that completely destroy the engine.
So this is now a very specific question. Now, assuming you have to work in a German factory and you want to sabotage a Nashorn, but you also don't want to get detected, what would you do?
Yeah, that's very difficult to say because you don't know the situation in the factory itself, and what can you reach the engine to do something without getting detected or not. If you're not working in the engine department, it's unlikely. If you're only working and assembling the wheels, yeah, there's not much you can do, unless except for putting something in the grease so that the wheels will seize up. So yeah, it all depends on the situation you're
Okay,
in.
okay. Let's assume a perfect example. You have total access, but you want to the chances that you want to balance out the chances that you caught, but you also want to make sure that at one point the vehicle is severely put out of action.
I think the best guess would be the drivetrain, so the engine, the gearbox, or the differential, because then you have a major repair going on. If you can attack a wheel, yeah, it's maybe one or two wheels, you take it off, you replace it by the spare. So you want to take something out that takes as much time as possible to repair. And mostly is that, in this case, is the engine, because then you have to take the gun off.
Ah, okay. And you would probably like also put drilling chips or something in the engine so that it takes a while, or what would you put
Yeah,
in?
some abrasive, you can also put sand in it, like quartz sand. It will act like sanding paper on the bearings, and it will take maybe a few hundred kilometers at most.
Okay. That's very, very interesting. So, and here's finally a quote from an OSS, from Office of Strategic Services, instructions on sabotage. And thanks here to Leon, who sent me this in 2019. And I quote now from the manual, and I want to hear your opinion on this. Oil and lubrication systems are not only vulnerable to easy sabotage, but are critical in every machine with moving parts. Sabotage of oil and lubrication will slow production or stop work entirely at strategic points in the industrial processes. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, if you take the oil out, it will end fast.
So and I often heard, but I think I never read it in the report, so that they put cigarette stubs or something in the lubrication systems or tubes or something. This would also have several consequences, right?
Yeah, that's the same as not having any oil at all. Parts will heat up a lot faster because they have more friction, and they will destroy each other then.
Then, Rob, thank you very much for taking your time and for restoring the Nashorn.
Yeah, no problem.
And for everyone at home, thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.